Hey guys, welcome back to another blockchain news video. Today we got plenty to cover just like we had in the previous days. We should be closing up the World Economic Forum today and all that news. But just to round up the cryptocurrency market right now, it's not moving up or down really, just a few percentages lower in some coins and higher in some other ones. Currently we see Bitcoin at 83.12, Ethereum at 159, XRP at 22 cents, Bitcoin Cash at 307, Bitcoin SV at 258. Again, not further correcting into the market, which is good. Right now, we are still sitting at that downturn for the entire market, but I'm hoping that we move on the upside here soon. It's good to see some volatility again. I think if anything, that does entice traders to jump back into the market. So hopefully we'll see more of that. Right now we have major Australian exchange expands to Singapore for crypto-friendly regulations. So the name is Independent Reserve. It's one of the largest crypto exchanges in Australia, and it seemed to have received very positive responses from the regulators. It currently offers retail and institutional trading features, including spot marketplace and OTC services. It was established in 2013. Singapore adopted an open arms approach to crypto regulation when the MAS, the country's central bank and financial regulator, created a legal framework. The 2019 Payment Services Act that effectively brought all cryptocurrency payments providers under its jurisdiction. The Services Act was one of the main factors that influenced the Independent Reserve's decision to move to Singapore. So that's pretty cool to see. We see that Singapore here seems to be quite supportive of cryptos and exchanges. So the new Singapore users will now have access to an institutional trading platform for cryptos, including Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, and XRP. Singaporean dollar trading pairs will be integrated into its platform and will operate as a wholly separate entity from the Australian-based platform. So that's pretty cool to see that expansion into Singapore. Next up, we have Harmony kicks off migration from Ethereum and Binance chains to its own. So holders of the one token will be able to swap their ERC20 or BEP2 tokens for the coin on Harmony's blockchain. So ERC20s are Ethereum's, BEP2 are Binance chain tokens. It is said that mainnet 1 holders will soon be able to stake their coins to earn rewards and gain access to our secure and fast and low cost blockchain. That's Nick White, one of the co-founders from Harmony. Harmony is a proof of stake blockchain that uses sharding with the aim of reaching extremely fast, large scale settlements for millions of users. It raised 18 million in a token sale to strategic investors last year, and it followed a IEO, initial exchange offering, on Binance in May, and it sold an extra 5 million worth in tokens. So holders of either of the tokens will need to load them on to the exchange because there's no actual bridge with Harmony, kind of like how EOS had the swap. All these token swaps are going to take place within the exchange. So right now, the exchanges that are signed up, BitMax is currently live. Binance is expected here on February 3rd, but they're also expecting Honest Mining, a staking service, exchanges including Huobi, Gate.io, and KuCoin. So those last three, Huobi, Gate.io, and KuCoin, will also be joining. So it'll be interesting to see how this chain takes place and competes with all the other chains currently available, but I wish them the best. So it seems like they did pretty well on their current first offering. So they raised 18 million and an extra 5 million at the IEO. So that's pretty good. So we are seeing 40% of the Bitcoin rally push back. So we saw that it rallied up from 68.53 to 91.88 in the last 17 days up until January 17th or January 19th. But Bitcoin obviously fell 3.21% on Thursday, its biggest single day decline in over a month. The bearish case puts forward by Thursday's range breakdown will remain valid as long as prices are held below 84.60. The level cap, which capped downside multiple times in the first half of this week. A bullish revival would require prices to cross 87.50 on strong volumes. That would open up the doors for a retest of recent highs near 9,200. So Let's see. I know we're all looking for upside on Bitcoin. Japanese lawmakers will propose digital yen to counter Libra and China. Current Reuters report stated that about 70 lawmakers from the party feel a digital yen is needed to counter the approaching launches of Libra and China's digital currency. It was said last June that the digital yen would mean dropping cash, but right now, the deputy governor of the Bank of Japan, Masayoshi Amamiya, stated that eliminating cash would make settlement infrastructure inconvenient for the public, so no central bank would do this. Furthermore, another former member from that bank stated that the best way would be to issue a hybrid type digital currency that is operated and issued by private firms with the central bank's involvement. So I'm happy to see the Japanese also taking the lead on a digital currency. They don't want to feel left behind by China. And for some reason, they fear Facebook's Libra. Seems like all the government officials seem to feel or fear Facebook Libra. I don't know why, but so a few last notes. We see oil producing nations want dollar alternatives, just not Bitcoin. So this is reported from Davos, Switzerland. Most Middle Eastern elites at the World Economic Forum are highly skeptical of Bitcoin, but there are whispers about its potential for cross-border settlements in the energy sector. According to Egyptian businessman M. Shafiq Gabar, chairman of the Artok Group for Investment and Development, some Middle Eastern nations are already exploring the possibility of settling oil contracts in Bitcoin. So that's pretty interesting to see. People from those nations are interested in settling that. I know oil is one of the biggest or the most lucrative businesses for the Middle East. So seeing how that could be processed through Bitcoin would be really cool. We see that leaders and businessmen still don't trust cryptocurrency, and he's expecting central banks would push back if Bitcoin gained more significant usage, and that was the CEO of Crescent Enterprises. However, if oil contracts were to be settled in currencies beyond the dollar, Jafar said that might be driven by political factors related to Russia and China. And that's really what we've seen, right? We've seen the pressure from China building up with their with them declaring their own CBDC pretty much. So that's going to be a big driver for a lot of these people that are popping up here towards the end of the World Economic Forum, stating what their leaders want to do, what their countries want to do. So next up, we have BitPay users can now purchase crypto with fiat in-app. So that's pretty cool now. Aside from seeing that XRP integration we saw a few days ago, the coin is obviously live, but now BitPay users can use Simplex essentially to purchase BTC. But you won't see that partnership. You'll just see the app. You'll go in the app and you'll purchase your Bitcoin like you would in any other application or exchange. So right now they're trying to eliminate the need to navigate crypto exchanges to fund payments. Cryptocurrency exchanges can be intimidating for new users, whether converting fiat to crypto to make crypto payments or converting crypto to fiat to pay with the BitPay card. The BitPay app is an all-in-one solution. So pretty cool to see that news. I'm excited to keep seeing more and more pretty much corridors that enable fiat to crypto and crypto to fiat. So next up, we have consensus to build global trade platform for agribusiness giants. So Covantis is a blockchain initiative backed by global agribusiness giants like Cargill, has selected Consensus as a technology partner. This partnership is going to digitize the post-trade finance industry and bring efficiencies and cost savings to the international business supply chain. So it's going to help this. Consensus is going to help launch Covantis digital platform in 2020. It has presented prototypes that demonstrated excellence in its field and has a track record of using blockchain technology to digitize processes in the commodity trade finance industry. So again, Consensus is just going to be supporting them. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. So next up, we do have research firm and environmental watchdog test world's first air quality ledger. This is pretty cool. We all know that global crisis right now with pollution and all that good stuff continues to grow. But this current firm is essentially going to be tokenizing their own method of collecting air quality samples and posting it on a ledger. So it's going to be pretty interesting. According to a Planet Watch post, the current state of air monitoring is unresponsive to today's needs. Large government stations are available in cities and transport hubs. Data might not be released for a whole day. Yet poor air quality poses dire health issues, especially for children, right? We see infant mortality, asthma, neurodevelopmental disorders, childhood cancers, and all that, which is very unfortunate, but we got to get better at just helping the ecosystem as a whole. So they are proposing that the global network of air quality sensors and environmentally conscious people will essentially be able to install them in their private homes or even carry one in person. And that allows the upload of data to be in real time. So that's pretty cool. It's stating that sensors owners will receive Planet tokens in exchange for collecting data. So this is going back to what we talked about in the previous videos. What we want to see is tokenization of all these processes, right? Not only assets, but I want to see the tokenization process take place with helping, or anything that can be used to collect data to help something be more efficient. So in this case, it is being used with streaming air quality data, and people will receive Planet tokens instead. So they're stating that sensing is mining. Of course, we know what mining is, and we're going to be calling this sensing from here on out. But it'll be interesting to play to see how this one is going to play out. So I'm going to be trying to keep an eye on them as we move forward. UK's Lancashire Cricket Club now uses blockchain platform to sell tickets. So they will be selling tickets for all domestic and international fixtures at Emirates Old Trafford in 2020 through a blockchain-based platform. So the platform is dubbed TIX and Go. The platform has been developed jointly with ticketing service provider Secutis and was successfully tested during the 2019 season. So the deployment of the platform, the club intends to eliminate fake tickets and track ticket distribution among their supporters. Earlier in January, news broke that the Sacramento Kings from the NBA will be tipping off a live auction for gear with a blockchain-based app. This is going to be pretty interesting because it's going to keep the authentication of these items in the eyes of the public, right, through blockchain. So that's going to be really good. That's kind of the issues we have seen in that space, is that a lot of people want to be able to purchase these items, but they don't know if they're authentic. So that'll be interesting to see. Next, we have Italian luxury sports car brand Lamborghini began using Salesforce blockchain to trace, certify, and authenticate heritage Lamborghini cars faster and more securely using its blockchain platform. And on January 23rd, Malta-based sports blockchain venture Chiliz revealed that it is launching a cryptocurrency exchange for sports and entertainment tokens. So again, more people using blockchain for its great reasons. Next up, we have a major Bitcoin Cash pool force 12.5% mining tax on community. So this is, I read this title and I read a little bit of the article that I wanted to highlight before the video, and I was just in shock when I read this stuff. So pretty much Bitcoin CEO Jihan Wu and Bitcoin.com Roger Ver proposed an infrastructure funding plan where miners would donate 12.5% of all block rewards to a Hong Kong entity. Many in the community turned harsh critics of the proposal. The initial funding would be activated in May 2020 and run for 6 months. The approximated revenue expected is $6 million if prices remain the same. It is worth noting that the proposal would activate around the scheduled reward halving. With current block rewards, the revenue would amount to about 13 million. So they are taking into account the halving. So also, many in the Bitcoin Cash community criticize the decision for a number of reasons. Primary concern obviously is centralization. The funds would be routed to a corporation instead of a nonprofit foundation. The absence of any kind of voting procedure would mean that the owners of the company would have control over all Bitcoin Cash development, the community argues. I'm not going to keep diving deeper into this article. I just think, I don't know if anybody out there listening holds Bitcoin Cash. I don't know if you're going to, what you're going to think of this news, but you know, I'm not one to care much for Bitcoin Cash, and reading stuff like this makes me more wary. I know there's different versions out there. We got Bitcoin SV and we got a bunch of different stuff, but it's just hard to follow when you start seeing things like this take place, right? Where people are just in it for the money. So Ukraine to block crypto wallets for illicit funds, finance minister says. So Ukrainian authorities will be able to block crypto wallets in order to seize illegally obtained assets. A notice on the country's Ministry of Finance says the State Financial Monitoring Service of Ukraine will be the responsible authority for tracking the sources of origin of the funds on citizens' crypto wallets. So they are going to be able to have access to an analytical product that allows investigators to look at the origins of crypto assets as well as their users. There have been a number of successful cases of investigations via the service already. It is impossible to stop operations now, but it is possible to block crypto wallets and remove illegally obtained crypto assets. This can be done by gaining access to the crypto's private keys as a result of complex investigations. So kind of scary there. I'm going to see how people in the Ukraine are going to manage with this. This new law should be going into place and enforced on April 24th, 2020. Anybody having more than 1,300 USD in crypto transactions in the UK, in the Ukraine, will have to be accompanied with a know your customer identification and information on the nature of the business relationship between the payer and payee. So interesting. Let's see how this is going to play out. Facebook and Calibra head David Marcus states, what problems would wholesale CBDCs even solve? So basically, there are two types of CBDCs. Right now, we have 6 central banks that have been reported to be working together on a central bank digital currency. So the two types are retail CBDC for retail payments, which connects directly to the consumer. The other one is wholesale CBDC. It's going to facilitate payments for banks and other entities that have accounts within the central bank. So he argued, if you're targeting wholesale distribution of banks, then what problem are you solving? You could probably have some efficiency gains, but banks currently have windows, the Fed, the ECB, they are quite functional. He stated that a hybrid model may work to solve those key issues. But again, I'm highlighting this kind of stuff, guys, so you can see that this CBDC stuff, these central coins, these countries, they're working hard, but they're just going to be used within their systems. This isn't something that I see disrupting cryptocurrencies at all. So the Liquid network has the platform for the fastest Bitcoin transactions. So they are Blockstream's Liquid is example of a sidechain. So it's basically a separate blockchain in itself, to its parent blockchain being Bitcoin. So a lot of people get confused, the concept of state channels and sidechains. So that's why I was clearing that one up. And then state channels can be very broad. They essentially are a simple way to think about blockchain interactions, which could occur on the blockchain, but are instead conducted off of the blockchain. So essentially, state channels are touted as a solution that could be critical to scaling blockchain tech. And Liquid is claiming to also be providing that for Blockstream's users. So Liquid is more like a blockchain. It is a federated blockchain that is essentially running a multi-sig wallet. So long story short, Liquid is just working on their own way to make Bitcoin transactions faster. They speak on a technology here called C Lightning. We could see it, play out in the next year, but they're still doing research and development for that. They also want to work on other tools such as Miniscript, which is an improved version of Bitcoin Script. They have other people working on smart contracts in Bitcoin. and they are trying to solve a lot of the issues currently with Bitcoin. He does state that we are seeing rapid growth in Bitcoin adoption already. With Lightning, we see how Bitcoin is becoming more relevant and prevalent everywhere we go. He also states that point of sale terminals are important to have them integrate Lightning so that essentially Bitcoin payments can go everywhere. Down here, he does state in the next 5 years, you'll see mass availability of Lightning payments. 5 years is quite a long time in crypto. I think hopefully before that, but either way, good news. Rebond tracks provenance of its luxury products using a VeChain powered digital certificate. So this was a pretty cool article. Essentially, they're gonna leverage blockchain to be able to have digital certificates on the blockchain. They'll have a QR code on them, and the information is going to be stored for ownership, product data, transaction details, and history. So this is going to make it very easy to be able to track the products from this company, and that way, if people want to sell back when they bought, they can, because they can prove that it is a validated product certificate. So in the case of a theft, customers can revoke it, and that will guarantee product protection. And yeah, the authentication of pre-owned luxury items using the blockchain is just one of many high impact innovations Rebond is pioneering to improve the luxury shopping experience for customers across the Asia Pacific. So pretty cool stuff. 7 key takeaways you need to know about CBDCs. So every CBDC will initially be launched for country-specific and policy-driven objectives. For cross-border payments, interoperability between other CBDCs will be very challenging and problematic. It will be like trying to fit squares into circles. So pretty much what we've seen currently with cryptocurrencies and having different blockchains communicate, CBDCs aren't, they don't have that solution in place, right? Each country is going to be creating their own thing, and if they want to communicate with each other, well, they got to figure things out technologically. So they're going to run into those same problems. For monetary policies to work, CBDCs must be interest bearing and the economy must be cashless. But in practice, that's very hard to do, because you do have a lot of people that are unbanked, right? That they're going to be using cash and all that good stuff. So the utility is marginal when the CBDCs launch. And so why bother, right? Some countries may never issue one. We've seen countries like South Korea state that they don't need one in place. Their infrastructure technology is pretty good. CBDCs are not cryptocurrencies. They are just digital extensions of cash. So that's very important to keep in mind. The reason why that's being stated is because the nature of cryptos are decentralized and are not backed by assets nor fiat reserves. So they're backed on community support, right? That's what cryptos are today. And some might be utility tokens, some might just be for transactions, or some might even work kind of like stocks, but that obviously all depends on regulation. But CBDCs are not going to be cryptos, not by any means. And then next up, they will need to partner with private companies, right, or financial institutions to provide face-to-face services and onboarding. Nobody's going to create a CBDC and just have a bunch of people magically show up and use their CBDC unless it is, just enforced by the government, which is, who knows, might happen. But either way, they're going to need other companies to get involved and help out. So one of the bigger things that I did see that was interesting was, if there was a major natural disaster, such as an earthquake or a tsunami, relief could easily and quickly be provided to those affected at a home or abroad. It would be interesting to track how donations are managed, where the funds flow, and whose hands it specifically ends up in. The charity industry will be impacted. So I think that could be one huge positive for CBDCs. I think crypto's already pretty much resolved that, but having a central way of knowing for big issues within a country that need to be solved, right, emergencies and whatnot, that would be good. So let's see how CBDCs continue to play out. Twitter blocks XRP payments platform amid rumors of Bitcoin integration. So Twitter has blocked the popular XRPTipBot, because they gave just an excuse of the Twitter account just being in violation of Twitter rules, and you know, all that corporate mumbo jumbo that they'll say when they respond to an account being locked up. So basically, people are thinking that the Twitter's decision was due to reports that the company may work to implement a platform for tipping that is going to be integrated with Bitcoin. So, you know, we have seen the announcement from Square Crypto in the previous videos that they're developing a whole kit for Lightning. So, you know, do I believe this rumor to be true? I don't know. I know the Twitter CEO has been in love pretty much with the idea of twitting with Bitcoin. And if that's what he wants for Twitter, then I guess that'll hold. But I wouldn't want to see XRP leave, you know, as a functionality for Twitter, because, you know, it's just another form of crypto. Coinbase set to pass 8.4 billion Bitcoin milestone. So essentially 1 million Bitcoin. Coinbase has by far the highest amount of Bitcoin of all crypto exchanges, and its holdings grew a lot over the past year. Moreover, that growth was relatively steady, apparently unaffected by the ups and downs in prices. So seems like maybe they are constantly buying up, and they've been around since 2012. So they've got a reason to. They've witnessed what Bitcoin has done. So I'm sure they plan to keep buying more. So the funds of the first decentralized ICO was dissolved, and essentially the issue was that it was dissolved due to a proposal on future developments just passed and only one entity of its voters. So even though the decentralized ICO concept did raise a lot of money, 52 million in Ethereum, we couldn't get everybody to pretty much get on the same page regarding the plans for the future of the product. So Vitalik stated that this was kind of interesting to see how this was the first large-scale successful DICO-style vote-driven funding. I think it was interesting to see the results. It's unfortunate that it had to get dissolved, but hey, at the end of the day, people received their crypto back. So I guess no harm, no foul, right? Ethereum dev warns Steve Wozniak against working with Justin Sun. So we know how Justin Sun has been boasting on Twitter. I kind of covered that also in the previous video, where Sun hinted at Tron and Wozniak may cooperate in the future, right? Justin Sun likes to be in the media, so, you know, I guess that's good. He probably doesn't need a media, a marketing person in his company or anything. He just markets his whole company himself. So an Ethereum developer, antiprosynthesis.eth, tweeted to Steve Wozniak saying that Justin Sun has used him for his and Tron's PR campaign. He also warned Woz about cooperating with Sun, calling Tron a highly dubious project. So, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to hate on Justin Sun sitting down with Wozniak. You know, I think when we get to tweets like this, you know, I think Steve Wozniak is not stupid, right? He's not just gonna meet with somebody and not do his research. So, I figured I'd cover that just to let you know sometimes how petty developers can be. But hey, shout out to him for trying to take care of Steve Wozniak, right? So next up, we have Cardano Foundation scores major partnership in Davos. So Finca, which is located in Zug's world famous crypto valley, could become Cardano's partner during its transition to the Goguen era. Under the guidance of the foundation, we will evaluate the Switzerland-based Finca as a potential Goguen launch partner. So it's pretty cool. They're just expanding on their potential partners for this next update. Figured I'd let you guys know on that. Next up, we have Ripple's upcoming IPO splits XRP investors into happy and disappointed ones. At first, I didn't take any sides on this. I know other people have kind of shared this and kind of covered it on Twitter and YouTube already, but the next article is going to bring some light to some of the things that do happen. Sometimes you want to have hopes and you have certain expectations, but not even a few hours later, certain things happen that just make you question what the real reasons are behind some of these announcements. So Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, stated that he expects to conduct an IPO within the next 12 months. So for the good of the company, right, the company itself, not XRP investors, I think that that'll be really good. He states, in the next 12 months, you'll see IPOs in the crypto and blockchain space. We're not going to be the first and we're not going to be the last, but I expect us to be on the leading side. It's a natural evolution for our company. So we did have some people tweet out. We had Green Eggs and Ham, over 16,000 followers, seems to be pretty big fan of XRP. He reminded the community that Ripple has plenty of digital cash. So remember that, in the form of XRP stored in their escrow wallet, and that Ripple has enough money to work the way they please without selling shares. So that's interesting to note that that tweet came out, right? That's what XRP and Ripple supporters are pretty much stating, right? That this is nothing. Someone else said, this is nothing but a wealth transfer mechanism, and I find it utterly disgusting. There's zero reason for Ripple to become a publicly traded company. They don't need the funds. I expected more from these guys. So another one stated, expecting Ripple to get more liquidity without further XRP sales and to get more funds from Wall Street. He believes that after the IPO, retail investors would be able to buy Ripple shares. Michael B made it clear that he would definitely buy some. So I've met a lot of people within the XRP community that are very money driven, and obviously within the entire crypto community, a lot of us are very money driven, right? We want to make money, but you know, I don't know. Something seemed fishy with this when I read the news yesterday. I didn't cover it because I wanted to see how things unfolded. And in less than a day, we do have an update on this. So like I said, some people state that Ripple has enough from escrow within XRP, but now others are saying, hey, you know, maybe they don't need to sell off their XRP, right, to get funding. Now they can just get it from this potential IPO. So not even the next day, we see that Ripple moves over 178 million XRP to Bitstamp, and 6 million transferred later from a different account though. But the 178 million was spotted by the XRPL Monitor, a Twitter account that tracks big transactions. So when they went back to double check, Bitstamp has their website that shows data on crypto wallets and their balances. So they were able to take note and see that Ripple was essentially selling off XRP. So that's kind of been the biggest critiques around XRP, is that Ripple has so many XRP locked up in escrow, and then what they do is they dump it pretty much on the market, and a lot of people think that that's why the token is not going on up in price. I mean the coin. It's, you know, it is what it is. Right now we see that another anonymous user also sent 6 million XRP to the Bitstamp exchange. It looked like a regular transaction though, a big one. Who knows, somebody might be just looking to dump. Who knows at this point. But also another user thought that Bitstamp could become an exchange partner with Ripple for the on-demand liquidity corridor, which uses XRP, but who knows, you know, there's been no rumors or actual information on that. So I wanted to cover that last one. I left Ripple and XRP towards the end because I know there's a lot of people that follow this project or Endcoin, and you know, whatever Ripple wants to do as a company, they're free to do, but don't let what they do as a company probably influence either for the better or for the worst of what you think XRP is, right? When I look at myself, again, not financial advice, or, you know, it's just my opinion, but when I look at a coin, I look at a token, I'm looking at that coin objectively. I'm looking at that coin for what that coin is, what it has done, and what it could be. So with Bitcoin, I treat that as a storage of value, right? I know that Bitcoin, to be honest, is going to go up in price. That's just my 100% belief. I don't see Bitcoin going down because it would go completely against what it's happened for the last 10 years that's been powered by the Bitcoin halving. But when I look at other projects, for example, XRP, I was a big fan, and honestly I am. I would still use it, especially for something like BitPay or something like that. But using XRP for transactions, that's what, you know, I liked it for. So, and all these big things happen, they do deteriorate me from obviously holding a large amount of XRP, because I see all this centralized influence, you know, and I know there's plenty of videos and plenty of tweets regarding, you know, how decentralized it is and blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I can't let an asset that I plan to hold and grow in value be manipulated by a company, whether they're just selling, whether they're doing whatever the hell they're doing. That's not something I do like. I do have tokens that may operate in that way, right, that I do hold, but in those cases I'm seeing more development, right? I'm seeing more use cases being presented with that token or tokens. So it's just important to keep in mind, you know, you stay focused, you know what you're doing, you do your research, and you know, keep your eyes on the prize. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click the like button. You can sub to my channel for more updates on blockchain news. I'm going to keep these coming as frequently as I can, and I will talk to you guys on the next one.